Recently, I did a video ranking No Limit's 1998 albums. I already knew people would take issue with me ranking Silk the Shocker's Charge It to the Game low. That's one of those popular rap opinions that gets recycled in the No Limit conversation. This idea that Silk's album is not only the best release of 1998, but sometimes even called the best No Limit album ever. To me, that opinion is wild, because I don't even think Charge It to the Game is a good album in the first place. One thing I always stress on my channel is that most rap fans repeat the same talking points. It's rare to hear a unique perspective, and I think that's because people don't actually sit with the music. Most of the hype around Charge It to the Game comes down to nostalgia. Fans remember when it dropped, how big It Ain't My Fault was, and the image of cassette tapes and CDs flooding the streets. But those same people never talk about the album as a whole. They just lean on the memories of a couple of singles, and if they do revisit the record, I guarantee most skip straight to the notable songs instead of listening front to back. When I review albums, I make it a point to put my personal biases aside and really listen to the music. For example, Master P is my favorite rapper out of the No Limit camp. If I were being biased, I would have crowned MP Da Last Don as the best album of 1998, but I didn't. I gave that top spot to Sons of Funk because to me that was the strongest project musically. That's what being fair and honest looks like. Too many fans, especially when it comes to No Limit, base their opinions on what was hot at the time instead of actually digging into the music. With that being said, I'm going to explain why I think Silk the Shocker's Charge It to the Game is not only one of the weakest No Limit albums, but also one of the most overrated albums in hip-hop history.
You could tell I'm a soldier. It's time to go to war. You could tell I'm a soldier.
I like the murderous piano melody on this track. It sets a dark and aggressive tone right from the jump. One thing I've always appreciated about No Limit is that every artist has their own unique style. Their flows are distinct, which can make a posse cut like this interesting to listen to. That said, the differences in delivery don't blend well here. Instead of feeling cohesive, it comes off a little messy, almost like everyone is rapping in their own lane without connecting to the overall vibe. On top of that, the intensity feels forced at times, especially with the constant screaming in the background vocals. It adds more noise than energy, and after a while, it becomes distracting. In conclusion, the track does a solid job of showcasing the roster's individuality, but for me, it's only good for a single listen.
Yeah, I'm Silk the Shocker. My lifestyle is got me lost in the game. They told me I never stop mountain.
Silk the Shocker's intense, hype delivery really doesn't work for me on this track. The constant stammering in his flow feels more distracting than engaging, and it makes the verses hard to sit with. His energy also clashes with the instrumental, which has a smooth laid-back feel that called for a calmer approach. What I do appreciate is the concept. Silk reflects on his rough upbringing and the drive it gave him to push for bigger things, and that's a solid foundation for a track. Unfortunately, the execution doesn't match the vision. The mismatch between the production and Silk's delivery holds this song back from reaching its full potential.
Back with a nigga like I smash, hand on 4-5, surrounded by killers and soldiers and bullet. Automatic with rockers, your girl automatic on joggers. From the LB to the NO, me and my camp.
The instrumental on this track is incredible. It carries a chill, laid-back vibe with some creative, catchy elements that keep it engaging. What really makes the song work, though, is the chemistry between Silk the Shocker and Snoop Dogg. Their flows complement each other exceptionally well, balancing Silk's more energetic delivery with Snoop's effortless smoothness. Overall, it's one of the stronger moments on the album, showing how effective Silk can be when paired with the right artist and production.
Fancy cars, diamond rings, badass bitches.
I know I take a chance to make sure I'm sitting tight. Do I get it how I live, but sometimes I don't get it right. I go to
This song is strange on so many levels. The instrumental doesn't sit right with me, the odd melody feels more annoying than catchy, and the overall beat is overly simplistic. Silk the Shocker and Master P don't do much to elevate it either, as both deliver low energy, unengaging verses that drag the track down. What really threw me off were the random sound effects sprinkled throughout, especially the bottle popping noise during Silk's last verse. It's so loud that it ends up being unintentionally hilarious. Then you have Destiny's Child on background vocals and the hook, but I never would have guessed it was them, as they sound like old women in a church choir. It's a weird collaboration all around, and while not unlistenable, it definitely misses the mark.
I'm just sitting in my Cadillac, riding on some triple gold, smoking Optimo.
This track carries a slow depressing vibe that's executed really well. The production matches the heavy subject matter perfectly as the song explores the mindset of someone who feels like giving up on life, believing that without a sense of purpose, there's no reason to keep going. It's a bleak concept, but it's handled in a way that feels raw and genuine. Silk the Shocker delivers solid verses, but the highlight for me is the hook. Fiend provides the chorus, and you can hear the pain in his voice. It's emotional, heartfelt, and really sells the theme of hopelessness. Fiend also drops a strong verse that deepens the track's impact, while Master P's narration helps tie everything together. Overall, it's one of the deeper and more effective moments on the album.
I don't wanna be here if I don't gotta we have dreaming till I dreaming, nigga. Millions of tops. I want the block, the whole world, nigga. I won't own my own spot.
This track ends up dragging on for far too long. Silk the Shocker leans heavily on his stammering flow here, and while it can sometimes add energy, it quickly becomes repetitive and exhausting when it's stretched across an entire track. The runtime doesn't do the song any favors either. Silk maintains the same delivery from start to finish, without much variation or lyrical depth to keep things interesting. By the midway point, it already feels played out, and the length only amplifies how one-dimensional the track comes across. It's not terrible, but it's definitely a song that overstays its welcome.
Y'all don't gang bang like my bang on, so bring it on. Bitch, I'm tripe type of nigga to pull a plug.
Okay, before I finish the video, I want to clear something up that might confuse people about the way I rate songs. You'll notice I often call certain tracks decent. Now for me, if a song is just decent, that really means I don't want to go back to it. I'm not someone who likes listening to decent music. For a track to have replay value, I need to feel like it's either good or amazing. So when I say a song is decent, that's basically another way of saying it's a skip for me. The flaws outweigh the positives. This is something I explain in more detail in my album reviews, because decent tracks actually hurt the overall score. If an artist has a lot of them, it lowers the grade, since those tracks don't count as points in my system. My album grades are based on the number of songs I actually liked, and if I only rated something decent, that means I did not like it. If you want to see the exact grade I gave this particular Silk the Shocker album, go check out my video where I broke down whether or not he's really a bad rapper. With that being said, let's get back into it.
It was rough sometimes, but it had to be. Enough tripping on stress, nigga, go ahead to back and pass the weed.
This track falls flat for me from start to finish. The instrumental is dull and uninspired, lacking the energy or creativity needed to make the song engaging. Silk the Shocker and the featured artist deliver underwhelming performances that fail to elevate the track. Their flows are bland, and there's nothing in the lyrics or delivery that grabs the listener. Overall, it's a forgettable moment on the album and doesn't leave much of an impression.
Pop was too busy doing his own thing to try to show me, but mom told me, Silk, you watch your paper. You ain't got slide to kick it. You ain't got slide to kick it. What's gonna be? It's gonna be. You ain't got.
Silk the Shocker's style on this album is very disappointing, and this track continues that trend. His usually complex flow comes off as boring due to his delivery, and the instrumental doesn't do much to elevate the song. It feels fairly standard and uninspired. Mia X and Big Ed contribute verses that are just okay, nothing particularly memorable. The concept itself is solid, focusing on people lying about their lifestyles to hang with Silk because of his wealth and status. Unfortunately, the execution falls short, and the track doesn't fully capture the potential of its theme. Overall, it's a decent listen, but it doesn't stand out.
He finally get a pay. Nigga walk around stunting on a cellular phone. When I ask you, do I want to let this thuggish nigga in? Scared of the life that I lead. Can't change the addicted to smoking.
This is another slow and ultimately boring track on the album, intended as a dedication to the ladies. The male vocalist's performance is weak and unmemorable, and Silk the Shocker's unorthodox, low-energy style makes the track feel awkward rather than engaging. His flow often sounds like he's casually talking rather than rapping, which can work in other contexts, but here it just falls flat. Master P is featured as well, but even his presence isn't enough to lift the song. The concept is standard, the execution is weak, and the track ends up feeling like filler. Overall, it's forgettable and doesn't add much to the album.
It's hard to find a true girl that's the soldier. See, when I was in jail, from the front to the back, to the left to the right, I want the thugging from the day to the night. You heard me?
This is another low-energy track on the album that fails to leave an impression. The instrumental is bland and uninteresting, lacking the creative or catchy elements needed to make the song engaging. Silk the Shocker's flow doesn't help matters. His delivery is dry and dull, and he brings little energy to the track. Overall, it feels flat and forgettable, one of the weaker moments on the album.
No sweat, 600 parked outside for weed drive with some ghetto superstar. Who can you trust? Who can you trust? So watch your back. Who can you trust when the enemy comes scrap?
Silk the Shocker delivers one of his stronger performances on the album here. His flow is energetic, and his delivery carries the intensity needed to match the track's dark and gritty subject matter. The production complements the concept perfectly, giving the song a mafia-like atmosphere that adds tension and depth. Lyrically, Silk explores the paranoia and uncertainty of the dope game, questioning who he can rely on when things get rough. Overall, it's a solid track that stands out as one of the more engaging moments on the album.
All the time I try to help you, just wanted to be me. Sometimes I want to take trips and go to war. I'm by my paper, important people on my page. I might not drink Alizé, but I smoke it under the table.
This track brings strong energy and stands out as one of the more lively moments on the album. Silk the Shocker and Mystikal complement each other really well, both delivering unorthodox animated flows that keep the listener engaged. Beyond the energetic delivery, the song carries a motivational feel. Silk and Mystikal use the track to hype up their camp and encourage everyone to keep pushing and succeeding in their endeavors. It's one of the more effective cuts on the album, combining both style and purpose.
Niggas wanna start shit that they know they can't finish. By far, niggas wanna go to war, but they know I'm off my knees, the power shit, nigga. I need dollar shit. Can't win a lotto, bitch. My motto is to get rich.
This track comes across as fairly generic and fails to stand out on the album. Silk the Shocker delivers a boring low energy flow throughout, and the singing vocals sprinkled in are only mediocre at best. The instrumental itself is simplistic, lacking any memorable or engaging elements. The featured duo Kane and Abel don't help much either. Their vocals are mixed louder than the instrumental, which feels unbalanced and distracts from the overall song. Altogether, it's an underwhelming track that doesn't add much value to the album.
Then I woke. It calls for the Cadillac with the fifth wheel and the beat. I'm up in the trunk, so don't get mad. I love my rumors and the girl seeing a long ass time. I don't know what you been doing, but girl got. Damn, you got.
This track is instantly catchy, thanks to the instrumental and the unorthodox flows of both Silk the Shocker and Mystikal. Their styles complement each other perfectly, creating a dynamic and engaging listening experience that stands out on the album. Honestly, their chemistry is so strong that it feels like they could have formed a rap duo of their own. On this track, they execute their complex styles seamlessly, feeding off each other's energy and delivering one of the album's more memorable performances. It's a great example of what works when Silk pairs with the right collaborator.
I ain't tripping on the stupid shit, me, I'm trying to have a good time in this bitch. I'm trying to get my smoke.
I'm too young to get my Z's on, get my cheese on. While I'm here, bang a bitch and get my B's on.
This track is one of the standout moments on the album, as all of the No Limit artists' styles complement each other exceptionally well. The concept is strong, with Master P questioning whether his crew will remain loyal to him through tough times, which sets the stage for meaningful verses. Silk the Shocker, Mystikal, C Murda, and Mia X each deliver solid, memorable performances that answer Master P's question with conviction and skill. The lyrical quality and cohesion of this track make it one of the album's highlights. But although this track is really good, I must highlight that Silk the Shocker won't provide a track this good on his own on this album, which says a lot.
Whenever you need me, I'm already there. It's getting done. Hanging out the window singing. Got nothing but 6 triggers. All of it with 6 niggas. 6 triggers. Right now, check with like 6 digits.
This track is just okay for me. While Silk the Shocker delivers his verses with noticeable energy, it doesn't fully translate into an engaging performance. His flow throughout the song lacks appeal and fails to hold the listener's attention. Overall, it's a decent effort, but it doesn't leave a lasting impression.
I'm known to bring the ruckus. I'll take my little chain off. Looking at me like a big old dollar sign. Figures them hoes gonna get rich. Now everybody wearing this shit, looking all stupid and shit.
This is another track that comes across as fairly boring. The instrumental is lackluster and doesn't provide much energy or creativity to keep the listener engaged. Silk the Shocker, Master P, and C Murda all deliver underwhelming performances, and their verses fail to elevate the track. Overall, it's one of the more forgettable songs on the album and doesn't add much value.
Call that I got conversation with the trick. She talk shit, but looking at my range and my. You was always good, I was always bad. You was always in school, I was always the cutting class.
This is one of the more touching tracks on the album, as Silk the Shocker dedicates it to his late brother, Kevin Miller. The song reflects on the good times they shared and Silk's longing to reunite with him, giving the track a deeply personal and emotional foundation. Silk's performance is heartfelt, and you can genuinely hear the pain and emotion in his voice. It's a standout moment on the album, showing a more vulnerable side of Silk that contrasts with his usual energetic or hype-driven tracks.
Me and you, I always thought we'd be together. I should have known nothing lasts forever. And see.
Overall, Charge It to the Game is an album that shows flashes of potential but ultimately falls short in execution. Silk the Shocker has moments where his style works, particularly when paired with strong collaborators like Mystikal, Snoop Dogg, or on standout posse cuts like How Many. However, much of the album suffers from low energy delivery, repetitive flows, and uninspired instrumentals that fail to elevate the material. While there are solid tracks that convey emotion, clever concepts, or strong chemistry between artists, they are outweighed by filler and weaker performances. In my opinion, this is why the album has been so overrated. Nostalgia and a few hit singles often overshadow its flaws. For those who dig deeper, it becomes clear that the album isn't as strong as its reputation suggests. Charge It to the Game is a mixed bag. Moments of quality exist, but as a whole, it struggles to live up to the hype.